Well, hello, I am Matt Williamson, here to talk about the Steelers' third receiver situation. And I greatly urge you to check out my article this week. That's what it's all about. But I'm just going to recap it here for you guys, just kind of talk through it, throw some other little nuggets in there. But we know the Steelers' passing game needs a lot of work. And I'm not even saying this is the root of the problem or anything like that. I mean, the way Pickett's playing, we know the Canada issues. But I think we also understand the Deontay Pickens relationship right now. You know, that Deontay gets a very high percentage of the targets when the two of them are out there, and Pickens hasn't. And you can see why he's frustrated, to be honest with you. But that's not really what I'm here to talk about. I think we understand what those two are. The third guy, to me, is a much bigger problem than I've seen anyone in the media talk about, to be honest with you. And I look at it this way. If you've been listening to me on these, I've been saying for years, you have to think about, what does the defense want you to do? So last year, especially after the Claypool trade, the Steelers put Gunnar Olszewski on the field a lot. They put Zach Gentry on the field a lot. Well, what's the defense do when you put those guys on the field? I think they say thank you. Like, oh, I have to play against Gunnar today? I have to play against Gentry today? I think I can manage that, you know? Like, that's not taxing. You know, they don't challenge you from a personnel grouping, you know, like at least a guy like Juszczyk, you know, with the Niners. Well, if we play base, he's going to split out wide and we're going to have a tough time covering him with a linebacker. If we play nickel, he's going to be a lead blocker and we're going to have a hard time dealing with the run game. You know, like Gunnar and Gentry don't provide that at all. You know exactly what they are. And frankly, I think Allen Robinson is now getting to that point of his career where the opponents are very happy he's on the field. He's averaging 49 snaps per game this year, in first year in a Steeler uniform. Now, some of that's because Deontay was out, but his snap count really has not dropped since Johnson's come off IR. He's an okay blocker. It's okay. I mean, he's not Alan Faneca. He's always basically out of the slot, but he has very little dynamic qualities. He doesn't separate. He has no deep speed, and he's got an old man's game. Now, I'm not saying you cut the guy, but he can't play 49 snaps a game. So I always tell you targets are earned. Well, he's gotten 4 targets over the last 3 games. I mean, Johnson's been back. They don't even throw him the ball. Like, what good is he even doing? He doesn't earn targets. His .66 yards per route run is horrible. It is terrible. He's just out there getting cardio and blocking. I mean, that's all he's really doing at this point. And he averages just over 2 yards after the catch. That's terrible. I mean, like, you can't make somebody miss for more than 2 yards. 73% of his snaps have come out of the slot. But, and I feel like they're just glued to that. Well, he's our big slot, much like Claypool last year. And we can't do any better, so we'll trot him out there. Johnson and Pickens can work from the slot. I mean, they're both capable. I would like to see more formation versatility with those two. So the obvious answer is, well, get Robinson out of there, put Austin in. Yeah, I'm for that. He needs a boost. I mean, there's no question about that. And we all understand that he's harder to play against than Robinson. He's scary. I mean, his explosiveness, you know, what I said here is, you know, Robinson has no dynamic qualities. Well, Austin's dripping with dynamic qualities. He's not going to block anyone in the run game, and obviously they're going to try to run the ball, and has some importance. He's also a little more equipped to be outside than in the slot as well. But Pickens and Johnson, believe it or not, can play slot. They just don't. However, that sounds all well and good, but playing 49 snaps a game in the NFL, as Robinson is hard on the body, and it's not for everybody. And I don't know that Austin can handle that, to be very honest with you. Now, a problem with his usage, as it's currently constructed, though, is when he's in the game, it's almost become a tell that he's going to get the ball a high percentage of the time. I mean, they either hand it to him or throw it to him a very high percentage of his snaps, where you'd hope that if he's out there 30 snaps a game, he would be not as obviously getting the football. And it's not 100% or anything like that, but it is too high a percentage of the time. So that's the issues. And I definitely think more Austin, less Robinson. Maybe it hurts your run game, but it certainly is going to back people off the line of scrimmage too, is part of the solution. Just less Robinson is really the basis of this. So I'm going to take a quick break and talk about some other angles on this as well. So the Steelers use 11 personnel almost 75% of their snaps, which is the sixth highest in the league. I think they need to drop that percentage down, especially now that Pat Freiermuth is eligible to come back. And they did this last year. Last year, they were very, very high 11 personnel. They trade Claypool, and then they got much higher 12 personnel with 2 tight ends on the field. Now, what I think... I'm still very much a Freiermuth fan. I mean, his usage is crazy low this year, but I assume he's healthy or will be whenever they activate him and all that good stuff. So here's what I would do more of, is I would almost directly replace Robinson with Freiermuth, thus keeping Hayward, but more so Washington in their current role. Like, Washington, to me, is the bigger, better version of Gentry. He's the blocker. He's your inline guy. Before his injury, they asked Freiermuth to inline block way too much, and he can't do it. I mean, he can't block defensive ends in this league. So detach him. You know, he can still block linebackers, safeties, but make him the Allen Robinson with the hope the teams play heavier defense too, you know, that they count it as 12 and they don't play dime against you, or, you know, so I would like to see that a higher percentage of the time. I mean, he has 13 targets this year. I mean, that's ridiculously low. It's time for him to get a boost. Now, also in the Washington role, I would like to see a 6th offensive lineman, which they've started to incorporate as well. You know, so that's another solution for 5 snaps a game of less Robinson. You know, all these are just a means to an ends of less Robinson, basically. Now, I'm a Connor Hayward fan, but I think the Freiermuth injury also showed that less of Connor Hayward is more. You know, he's playing a lot of snaps. And like Austin, he's very small for his position. And I think the rigors of the game make him less efficient per snap. So if you could lessen a little bit what you ask of Hayward, I think you'd get more per snap out of him. You know, Washington gets a lot of work on the line of scrimmage. Hayward comes in here and there. Freiermuth plays a lot, mostly out of the slot. Mix in Austin, as we mentioned, for less Robinson. And then my last, and also, you know, an extra offensive lineman a little bit for less Robinson. And then the last thing is Anthony McFarland is now back on the roster and ready to roll. They did a lot of pony package stuff in camp with 2 backs on the field. Usually McFarland was one of the 2, and we haven't got a chance to see that here. His receiving skills are pretty strong, and he also is a dynamic player. I could see him as the lone back here and there, but either with Najee or Warren in a pony package as less Robinson, you know what I mean? So if you add all these things up and you can drop Robinson snaps from 50-ish down to 20, those 30 could easily go to McFarland, certainly Freiermuth, all these linemen, linemen, extra offensive linemen, et cetera, et cetera. And you also could here and there put Warren and Harris on the field together. I think both are capable enough blockers to help the other as a ball carrier, and they're both able receivers that can split out and do stuff. So go read the article. I also end it by saying this offseason, it might not be a bad idea. I think they'll move on from Robinson. I would hope so. But it probably is a good idea to use a higher pick than you might think on a wideout. Another day 2 that they've had such success with wide receiver makes a lot of sense to me. But there's more solutions. Again, less Robinson is the key here. Hope you enjoyed it. Go check out the article. Leave me some comments, feedback, all that good stuff. Over and out.